Very naughty, Miss Kettlewell.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most graphic, bloody, and stomach-churning deaths in the Chucky franchise. We will only be including the films for this list.
I hate kids.
Number 20, The Garbage Man, Child's Play 3. Of all the deaths in the Child's Play franchise, the Garbage Man hurts the worst, literally and figuratively. The poor guy's just doing his job, clearing the garbage from Kent Military School. However, Chucky is in the dumpster at the time, and his screams alert the Garbage Man.
Help! Please, mister! Please, somebody! Jesus! What the fuck? Mister!
Thinking that he trapped a human, he climbs into the back of his truck and roots through filthy garbage in a desperate attempt to find them. But he makes one major mistake, and that's leaving the truck on. Chucky makes his escape, climbs into the seat, and starts the contraption. And that is the end of the poor Garbage Man, who is crushed to death inside the body of the truck. Number 19, Dr. Foley, Cult of Chucky. After moving into a mental health hospital, Nika Pierce is put under the care of one Dr. Foley, who diagnoses her with schizophrenia. Foley gives Chucky a run for his evil money, as he is known to drug and take advantage of his patients. And in this way, his death is very symbolic.
I just can't with this guy. I don't know whether to kill him or just take notes.
After she's given a pair of red high heels from Foley, Nika becomes possessed by Chucky and attacks Foley with these very same shoes. She repeatedly stomps on Foley's face with the sharp heel, eventually turning it to red mush. It's definitely one of Chucky's more brutal kills, even if it comes at the hands, or rather the feet, of someone else. Number 18, Nurse Carlos, Cult of Chucky. It's always the nice ones who are given the worst deaths. Nurse Carlos is an employee of the Harrogate Mental Health Facility and is quite warm and caring towards Nika. Unfortunately, Nika is targeted by 3 different Chucky dolls, and Carlos stumbles across this horrifying scene. Realizing they now have a witness, the 3 Chuckies go to town on Carlos with a letter opener, a power drill, and a shard of glass. The death perfectly embodies the tone of the Chucky films, mixing grotesque imagery with over-the-top silliness.
He made the funniest face when I drilled him. Did you see the steam when I sliced open his guts? I never felt so alive! Yeah, well, you've been alive for like 2 minutes.
The death isn't taken too seriously, but it sure is gross. Number 17, Ian Pierce, Curse of Chucky. No one ever believes that it's Chucky doing the killings. Like, can you blame them? He's a doll.
Ian, what are you doing?
What the hell have you done with my daughter, Nika?
Ian, where's Chucky?
You're sick!
Ian, I swear to God I can prove it.
And so can I!
The deaths in Curse of Chucky are attributed to Nika Pierce, with her brother-in-law Ian believing that she killed the others and kidnapped his daughter Alice. But the true perpetrator comes a-calling and knocks Ian to the ground. Aware that he is about to be killed by a living doll, Ian screams just as Chucky's hatchet comes bearing down.
Say hi to the little woman for me.
The result is horrific, with Ian losing his entire lower jaw. It is certainly one of the grossest visuals of the entire franchise. Number 16, Pete Peters, Seed of Chucky. The director of acclaimed cult films like Pink Flamingos and Hairspray, John Waters is reportedly a big fan of the Child's Play series. As such, writer-director Don Mancini made Waters a special role in Seed of Chucky.
Jesus Christ!
He plays Pete Peters, a sleazy tabloid photographer. While working in his red room, Pete is startled by the appearance of Chucky's child Glenn and stumbles into a metal rack. This causes a jar of sulfuric acid to spill onto his head, which proceeds to eat away the left side of his face.
Atta boy!
No, I didn't.
And I thought you weren't ready.
It is a goopy, stringy, and revolting visual that more than deserves a spot on this list. Number 15, Grace Poole, Child's Play 2. Serving as Chucky's 10th victim, Grace Poole runs the Midtown Children's Crisis Center and believes that Andy invented Chucky as a coping mechanism. Well, she learns the truth soon enough, at the cost of her life, of course.
You did this, didn't you? He did it. Get into my office.
She pulls Kyle and Andy into her office and angrily grabs Chucky from Kyle's arms. He immediately springs into action and stabs her 3 times in the chest.
Don't give me that.
Amazing, isn't it?
Unfortunately, she is not given any dignity in death. Grace falls onto a photocopier as she dies, and it prints some goofy photos of her squashed face. Number 14, Sergeant BOTNICK, Child's Play 3. The resident barber of Kent Military School, Sergeant BOTNICK is obsessed with giving buzz cuts.
You're not cut out for this life. Why don't you do yourself a favor and get the hell out of Kent?
If I had any choice in the matter, I would, sir.
Smartass. Presto. You're bald.
He finds Chucky hiding inside one of his cabinets and decides to give him a buzz. Why? We don't know, because the script called for a kill, we suppose. Just as he's about to cut Chucky's hair, the doll grabs a straight razor off the chair and slits BOTNICK's throat.
Presto. You're dead.
He stumbles around for a bit as Chucky laughs, just to rub salt in the fatal wound. Poor Whitehurst then wanders back into the room, realizing with horror that his barber has just been given a very close shave. And by a doll, no less. Number 13, DAMIEN BAYLOCK, Bride of Chucky.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
The hell'd you get this thing?
Got it from the cops. It's the actual doll from those murders. I stitched them together.
You gotta be kidding me.
Alexis Arquette makes an appearance as DAMIEN BAYLOCK, the goth suitor of Tiffany. But Tiffany's heart belongs to another. Knowing that Chucky will kill his competition, she places the doll on Damien's chest and makes sure the handcuffs are on good and tight. With Chucky's prey now defenseless, a scream is the only possible reaction when the doll turns his head and begins his taunting.
Ain't big enough to take care of a woman like you.
It ain't the size that counts.
The killer doll then rips out Damien's lip ring, causing profuse bleeding from the mouth. He then grabs a pillow and suffocates Damien. In terms of crappy ways to go, being tied to a bed while a doll rips out your piercing and smothers you has gotta be up there.
What are you doing with this jerk anyway?
10 years is a long time, Chucky. Besides, I was never actually with him. You know me. I'll kill anybody, but I'll only sleep with someone I love.
Number 12, Barb Pierce, Curse of Chucky.
Barb, put him down.
What is wrong with you?
Look, I know that this sounds nuts, but that doll, I think that there's something...
Wait a second, you know about this?
Barb is the wife of the aforementioned Ian Pierce, although she's unhappy in her marriage and having an affair with their daughter's nanny. Shortly after the nanny is killed, Barb wanders the house looking for her daughter and stumbles across Chucky. He springs to life after Barb uncovers his scars and corners her with a knife.
You have your mother's eyes.
After remarking on Barb's eyes, Chucky takes one of them out with his blade. This doesn't kill her outright. Barb later stumbles into the doorway and falls down the stairs to reveal her now one-eyed face to Nika. Number 11, Jill, Curse of Chucky. Sometimes all Chucky needs is a bucket of water and a bit of electricity. After some intense buildup, which sees Chucky crawling on the floor and popping up behind Jill, she finally notices him standing at the foot of her bed. He decides to forego an extravagant death, as he simply kicks over a bucket of water and lets Jill's laptop do the rest. It's a relatively tame kill compared to some of the others found throughout the series, but the editing, lighting, and music make for a tense scene rather than an overly violent one. Welcome back to the world of horror, Chucky.
Can't live with them. Period.
Number 10, Shane, Child's Play. The 2019 reboot helped bring Chucky into the 21st century, presenting him not as a possessed doll, but a malfunctioning piece of AI. But he's still the same old Chucky where it counts. Just ask Shane, the horrible boyfriend of Karen and potential stepfather of Andy. Shane is taking down the Christmas lights when the ladder is knocked out from under him, causing him to break both of his legs. But that's just the start.
It's tickle time.
Shane, help!
Nobody hurts my best buddy.
Shane is then stabbed by Chucky and scalped by a tiller.
This is for Tupac.
His face, yes, his face, is then stapled to a watermelon and given to Andy. Chucky is good at killing, but not so great at gift giving. Number 9. Haskell Sullivan, Child's Play 3. Chucky just loves to play with his victims. Well, he is a doll after all.
Hey, wanna play? Hey, wanna play? I like to be hugged. I like to be hugged.
This drawn-out murder starts when Chucky spills a bunch of marbles, which causes Sullivan to fall on his back. The doll then scares Sullivan with various toys before appearing out of nowhere and smashing him over the head with a golf club. Next, he throws darts into his back and hand before finally strangling him with a yo-yo. Yeah, the whole scene is a little goofy, but it's all in good fun, and it opens the relatively poor third installment on a high note.
Just like the good old days. Nothing like a strangulation to get the circulation going.
Number 8. Tony Gardner, Seed of Chucky.
Listen, if you want them to work, I'm gonna have to take them apart.
The series definitely took a more comedic turn with Bride and Seed, but that doesn't mean they neglected the gloriously violent kills. They're just, a little sillier. Okay, a lot sillier. After Tony Gardner discovers that the Tiffany doll has a spine, she and Chucky share a kill by decapitating him with piano wire.
It's up.
His head flies at the camera like a 3D movie, and Chuck and Tiff make out while his corpse spews blood behind them. The movie clearly does not take itself very seriously, and while some may lament the gloriously campy scenes, others, like us, love them.
Stop raving mad.
Number 7. Dr. Ardmore, Child's Play. And we're going right back to horror. While the first installment isn't as gory as the others, it is arguably the most horrifying of them all, thanks to scenes like this.
Chucky's in the room and
No.
he's trying to kill me.
No, Andy. It's gonna be all right. I'm here now, and I'm gonna protect you.
After Andy is met and restrained by Dr. Ardmore, Chucky stabs him in the leg before fitting him with an electroshock therapy device. He then, fries the doctor until his mouth and eyeballs bleed. This is all done in front of Andy, and all he can do is hopelessly stagger away while watching the man sizzle. It's a hopelessly bleak scene, but those are the ones that make for good horror movies. Number 6. Chief Warren Kincaid, Bride of Chucky.
Who's there?
We don't know why John Ritter agreed to be in this movie, but we sure love seeing him wherever we still can. After Tiffany tells Chucky to make like Martha Stewart and improvise because stabbing is so 1970s, he rigs up some nails to the van's glove compartment. When Kincaid notices the nails, Tiff gives the order and Chucky shoots the nails into his face, killing him instantly. As if that wasn't good enough, Chucky then makes a not-so-subtle Hellraiser reference, which every horror fan should immediately recognize and love.
Why does that look so familiar?
Bride does tread into camp territory, but scenes like this proved that the series still had some horror gas left in the tank.
What would Martha Stewart do?
Number 5. Factory Worker, Child's Play 2. Chalk this one up to sheer stupidity. After a machine breaks down, a factory worker is forced to fix it.
Terrific.
Unluckily for him, Chucky is there, complete with a newly fashioned knife arm that he uses to slice the guy across the cheek. He is then strapped into the doll-making machine and given a new pair of doll eyes. Okay, this death is cool and all, but shouldn't this guy have shut down the machine before sticking his face in there? That just screams unsafe work practices. Regardless, it is still a horrifying way to go. Number 4. Tiffany Valentine, Bride of Chucky. Hey, souls don't just transfer themselves, you know. Chucky decides to kill Tiffany so that he can shunt her soul into a doll. And he decides to do this while she's in the bathtub. The kill begins with Chucky rushing in with a knife while screaming like a banshee, only for Tiffany to kick him square in the face. Despite her stellar defense, Chucky succeeds in pushing a TV into the bathtub, which electrocutes and kills Tiffany. The scene is a nice blend of horror and comedy, and it perfectly captures what makes Bride such a unique entry in the series. Number 3. John Bishop, Child's Play.
Hi! It's me, Chucky. What do you think?
Chucky makes a horrifying discovery when he learns that he can bleed, despite being a doll. So he goes to John for answers. After John refuses to give up information, Chucky tortures him by using a voodoo doll to break his leg and arm. We don't know why John has a voodoo doll of himself, but whatever.
Shouldn't tell your customers where you hide things like this, John.
The combination of horrific sound design and grotesque visuals is sure to make anyone wince in their chairs. But the brutality isn't over yet. After learning what he needs to know, Chucky stabs John in the heart, which goes to show what a truly awful monster he is.
So long, John.
Number 2. Elizabeth Kettlewell, Child's Play 2.
And you think this is funny?
I didn't do that.
After Miss Kettlewell gives Andy detention and throws Chucky in the closet, Chucky has a hissy fit and relentlessly bangs on the door. After a very tense minute of investigating, Kettlewell is stabbed by Chucky and theatrically collapses into a bunch of desks. Chucky then beats her to death with a yardstick, complete with dramatic cues from the music and progressive zoom-outs of the camera. Jeez, we couldn't imagine being beaten to death with a yardstick by a doll, but then again, we don't really want to. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Maggie Peterson, Child's Play. Despite its relative straightforwardness, Maggie's death is easily the best murder of the entire series. The process begins with Maggie anxiously searching the apartment, and it ends when Chucky smacks her in the face with a hammer.
I'm scaring myself half to death.
While this doesn't kill her, it causes her to crash through the window and fall onto a car below. The scene is suitably tense, and the effects of Maggie falling and slamming into the car still look great over 30 years later. This is also Chucky's first kill of the entire series, so it deserves points for that alone. Sometimes, the simplest deaths are the most memorable. Would you be scared of a knife-wielding doll? Let us know in the comments below.
Well, John, it's been fun, but I gotta go.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.